Demonology Warlock under World of Warcraft's definition is a commander of demons who twists the souls of their army into devastating power. But in reality it's more like, this healer is literally going to kill me. Demo as a spec has undergone possibly the most massive overhaul since WoW first began, with the removal of Metamorphosis in Legion and the introduction of hunters. The spec was rebranded as a summoner as opposed to a transformative caster. A welcome change by many, as demonology never got that much attention in the first place, so an overhaul was about as exciting as it got. I'm going to quickly brief the abilities that are live on retail currently, and these were some of the core abilities added or changed to demonology since Warlords of Draenor. I list these because I want to single a few out and criticize the design of them, while circling back to what the reality of demo feels like. I'm going to start with Nether Portal. Tear open a twisting portal to the Nether for 15 seconds. Every time you spend soul shards, you will also command demons from the Nether to come out and fight for you. Now that sounds epic, but it really isn't. It's a poorly designed, underwhelming spell that sounds nice on paper, but when put in practice, it's the weakest max level talent. Its only real use is in certain builds in Torghast, and it's disappointing because it really matches the summoner class fantasy. This healer is literally going to kill me. I circle back to this clip because this is how it feels to play demonology in Shadowlands. Just holding your breath until you can get a cast off, and when you do, it's damage that is easily avoidable, by line of sighting pets, crowd controlling them, or just simply out mobilizing them. Herein lies the problem with Demo. Its limitations of being a pet class when pets aren't an extension of themselves like Beast Mastery. The highest rated demo lock is Nasty Chiton at 2608 rating in 3s at the time of this recording. Now I get there is always going to be a meta, but every spec should be playable at a competitive rate. I speak for Fury Warriors here too. By 2608 rating, when almost every other class and spec has been able to hit over 3k, just isn't right and screams imbalance to me. While Demo has a versatile kit and can be a pain to play against in 1v1 situations, it severely lacks representation in the higher levels of competitive play. At higher ratings, Demonology is one of the easiest specs to pin down and prevent their damage. In Battle for Azeroth, Demonic Tyrant was generally a force to be reckoned with, especially with corruptions. You'd at least have the fear factor to help you in competitive, whereas its damage seems to be a flip of a coin on retail. Scrambling to get demons out so you can summon a stronger one is, simply put, difficult. I've theory crafted about as many builds as there are for Demo, and none really hold up in a competitive environment. That's why I'm making this video. Since the revamp to our spec in Legion, we have received several positive changes too. A consistent and reliable counterspell, more overall consistent damage, exceptional crowd control, and decent mobility with Demonic Gateway and Demonic Circle. But the thing we lack is a reliable and consistent burst. Fire has Combustion, Rogues have Dance and Blades, Druids have Incarnation, and so on. Even Affliction and Destruction have Dark Soul. But Demonology has Demonic Tyrant, doesn't it? Well, that's the most preventable cooldown in the game. Most crowd control abilities outlast or go for most of the duration of Demonology's bursts. And Warriors and Priests have area effect fears, simply putting our damage to an end. All anyone must really do is run away, get behind a pillar, and demo locks are about as useful as a sack of potatoes. This is where Demo and probably a lot of other classes and specs have been dealt a crappy hand. PvP talents are supposed to be utilised to maximise your spec's potential in a player versus player environment, but we are opted into 3 almost essential options. Master Summoner, which makes your Dreadstalkers instant cast, Call Fellhunter, which is a reliable kick, and either Big Gate or Nether Ward. Some of the other options can be used in certain situations, but those are generally what you need to pick. But then we have PvP talents like Singe Magic and Pleasure Through Pain. You can do some cheese builds with Pleasure Through Pain, and Singe Magic is okay, but the problem is you have to have either your Succubus or your Imp out, when most of Demo's kit relies on you having your Felguard out, with abilities like Demonic Strength, Soul Strike, and Axe Toss, and that is a design problem. Now I want to talk about the fantasy of the spec. We're summoners, but sometimes it doesn't really feel like it. In conjunction with wonky pet AI, we don't feel like too much of an overseer to our minions. We summon our pets and send them in only for us to spam Hand of Gul'dan to summon relatively low-hitting wild imps. I can't help but think that the spec would be a lot more enjoyable and better off in a competitive environment if we had some more customization to the way we utilize our demons as opposed to just sending them in to auto-attack. We used to have Demonic Fury when we were transformative casters. That was a slow built up bar that we could use then to expend on-demand damage in Metamorphosis. Unfortunately, we don't have such a unique aspect to our spec anymore and rely on a more cut and drier playstyle. I don't think I'm too qualified to submit suggestions, but as a player it's more of just a high recommendation for some kind of change. In conclusion, the promise of being an all-powerful summoner is a false one and could use some attention. A lot of our abilities are misleading and underwhelming, with the example of Nether Portal. In competitive we have very little representation due to the unplayability at higher rating, and our class fantasy is nothing short of a joke. By no means is Demo a horrible spec to play, in fact I still love it after all these years, but there have definitely been some frustrating times in which I considered re-rolling due to the lack of fairness Demo faces in a competitive environment. With PvP talents being what they are, and the easily preventable damage Demo faces, there needs to be a change. I have played Demonology since Cataclysm, and I have been attached to it even since it became a summoner spec, because I enjoy that playstyle too. But it is worrying to see the spot Demo is in, and the lack of attention it gets. I have been asked many times to switch to Affliction or Destro, and denied spots in arenas or RBGs because I was Demo, and faced a lot of prejudice for playing it over the meta. I'm making this video because I want to stand up for the underdog that I am and all the other loyal Demo players are. We are not begging to be overpowered, we just want to be able to play our spec without criticism and feel like we have more than just a fighting chance. I'm Conquest, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, comment and subscribe.